Do Charlton have the squad depth to compete? Welcome back to Where Addicks Walk with myself, Luke, and alongside me today we've got Dave, Steve, Timmsy, and Platty discussing all things Charlton, including this week's A to Z and tweet of the week. So, can we just take a moment to say not the best week Charlton have had, but it's still early days. So, Dave, we'll start with you, mate. Difficult double game week.
Yeah, we started very encouraging against Derby. That goal which Bree scored. Oh my goodness, that is. I thought I was watching Brazil, but it was a fantastic goal. Probably not as good as the Ipswich players' goal I saw this afternoon, but anyway, again, I think couple this with yesterday and not having a shot on target, we have got a little bit of an issue with our threat in attack as the game goes in the second half in both games. I do think that Leeburn is just a little bit shy. I think he's getting a bit found out at this level, and I think we need to make a bit more of a positive impact, like bringing on Tanto perhaps in his position. He scores right in front of goal, so he's a lot more experienced, really. He's played a lot more games at a professional level. So, but then also I think TC, I'd like to see him play a whole game out, because I do think that he does have a threat. I can see teams do struggle against him. And, perhaps keeping, Kelman should be up to full fitness now, keeping them on for 90 minutes. It could be what he needs just to snatch a goal, because he's desperate to do that. So, we didn't turn up yesterday at all. We were set up to be scared of small, and he came back to haunt us.
Yes, yeah, we'll touch on him a little bit later on in the show. Steve, a point from the two games, is it not exactly what we were looking for?
No, it's a bit of a missed opportunity. I think. I mean, after, as Dave was saying, the way we started against Derby, and that goal, which is already probably up there for goal of the season for us at least, if not for the league. We looked so good for large chunks of that game at Pride Park. Probably a goal that we've conceded at the other end, which isn't the usual one for us to concede. But yeah, yesterday's was just, it's up there for me with the QPR game. It's just, we didn't turn up. We were second best all game. Didn't look like really causing them a problem, and then got our pants pulled down by our former player. So thank God it's a bit of a gap with the international break. I guess we can just kind of forget this one and move on. And it's still early enough in the season that we can still be looking onwards and upwards.
Yeah, definitely. I think something to note, which is obviously, it's different. Obviously, you play the same amount of games in League One as you do the Championship. Obviously, the level is higher. So, is there a question of whether there is that quality in squad depth within the ranks, Timmsy?
It's interesting you said that. At this point last season in League One, we was on 14 points, and we're on 12 in the Championship. So I think there's a lot more to come from this current squad. And we saw that sort of last year, the time it took. We were probably in a worse place, I would have said, last season. It took a while for it to click. But I think this season, we're on the cusps of it, like, building and being better. But you can't help but really miss Godden in the team. Just to be that nuisance fox in the box, a ball going in. The amount of balls that went into the box against Preston, and TC didn't get on one, Leeburn didn't get on one. You just can't help but feel if there was a natural poacher just there, they're being nested in the back of the net. And I think at the moment, just that injury, him being out at the moment, as we sort of really struggled to get another striker just firing. When it comes to depth, I feel we've really missed Edwards in the last game as well. Edwards getting injured at previous. I think we really saw that yesterday, the effect that's had on the squad. So that's an area we can probably look at in January, I feel.
Yeah. What do you think, Platty? Do you think the squad is deep enough to take on these double game weeks at the higher level in the Championship?
I think the boys have sort of hit it collectively. My concern is goals, to be honest now. I do think Kelman, when he gets a goal, they will start the flow. He put a lot of effort in yesterday, as he did in the Derby game. But I do stand by, I think we've got to look at who we're playing up front. Tyrese works hard, battles hard, but he hasn't scored in 16 games now. So he hasn't scored for 16 games, and he's one of our two strikers. So they're playing two up front. So I think I go back to my argument of a couple of weeks back. I would be starting Tanto. And I think still give Kelman a chance. He got into some good positions yesterday. But I think he's playing more off a central striker. So I would personally bring Tanto in and pair him up with Kelman. Tanto to be the target man, and Kelman to continue to buzz. Leaving Tanto to roam, and I mean yesterday he did a run on the second half on the left-hand side where Campbell would have been knocked off. So he muscled his way through, got a good cross in, no one was there. The rest of the depth of the squad, I think, as we sit at the moment, yes, I think we are strong enough, and I think defensively we've got some decent players. We've not really been found defensively bad, but it's at the top end where we've got to start putting the ball away. And when Godden comes back, hopefully he will start to do that. But I would change it up front. But the overall depth, it's too early to say. Come end of November, we'll probably say what do we need in the Jan window.
Yeah, that's some good points there, Platty. Obviously, you guys have all touched on the fact that there's been a bit of lack of goals. Obviously, there was a lack of goals over the last two games. Someone who didn't have struggle scoring was Terry Small, unfortunately, and he come back to bite Charlton on the butt. Dave, what are you thinking? Is there anyone else that you can think of that has come and bite you on the arse beforehand?
Oh well, the serial arse biter was Jermaine Defoe. Yeah. I think he had 11 games against us, scored 7 goals against us, and ultimately sent us down from the Premiership in his 19 minutes goal against us when we lost 2-0 to Spurs. So yeah, as long as Small doesn't repeat that, which I don't think he will do. He's not that consistent.
What happened with Smalling, Steve? What was the reason he left the club? Was it the right decision by the club?
It wasn't so much the club's decision. It was, I mean, I think we offered him a deal, and Preston offered him a better deal. So I think it was simply down to money. His contract was up. He saw it as an opportunity to move on, probably make a few extra quid at Preston, and maybe in his head he sees Preston as a better opportunity to push up towards the top half of the table than at Charlton. Yesterday he was proved right. I mean, I don't have a problem with him giving it back to the fans as well. Like, he had every right to do that. Charlton fans gave him absolute stick through the game. That's part and parcel of it. And when you give it, you have to take it. And he gave it back. And fair play to him, because we'd all give it to him if it was the other way around. So yeah, he's won us on this one. He's made his choices. He's made his move, and at the minute he's 1-0 up on us. But hopefully, when he comes back to the Valley, we can sort that out later on in the season.
Yeah, he definitely didn't care about
to be honest, Luke, to be honest, he didn't have much of a game yesterday. He scored sort of with a deflection, but other than that, he didn't really get many crosses in. And if you look at his performance figures, it wasn't that great, but the inevitable happened.
Yeah, it always does. And yeah, like I was just saying, he didn't obviously mind about celebrating against his former club. What would you do, Timmsy? Let's say you've come up the ranks, let's not say Charlton, you come up at a different team, you're now playing for Charlton, you've scored the winner. Are you celebrating?
I support the club, so it's a bit different. If I've come through the youth system and that, I probably wouldn't, but we've seen it over the years that many players have, even ones which have come through the academy and been sold on. But our fans, we do like to give stick to ex-players, and we've had a lot of them score against us, which probably what sort of stems it. I bet one player which I would never not give stick to after he left was Scotty Parker. That was the one which it left a real sour taste in my mouth. And probably if we ever, for some reason, come up against Lyle Taylor, he would definitely get some stick.
Oh, love it, boys, love it. Right, something I do want to touch on, which I think has been across the board. Well, we're 9 games in now into the season, and it's something that's come to my mind, and I think I've seen on Twitter it's come to a lot of the Championship clubs' mind. The level of refereeing is absolutely shocking, to put it lightly. Dave, what are we thinking? It's been really poor this season, hasn't it?
Well, it has, and it just goes to show that I don't think it's such a great employment choice, is it? A career being a referee. I feel sorry for the youngsters that are trying to be referees at a lower level, because they get abuse from dads at the side of the line. I've seen it firsthand. It's terrible. But it just shows that although we've got many leagues over here in the UK, in England, you're just not going to get that level of consistency. And there's hardly much difference between League One and the Championship in terms of refereeing. But that's the situation of our game.
Yeah, I think you're right. You touched on, obviously, we've got a lot of different leagues in the English pyramid, and the English leagues are the strongest, in Europe and the world. I mean, you look at obviously the Premier League and the Championship as the top 2 leagues in our country. I think the level of quality that the players bring, and the refereeing is just nowhere near it. Well, what do you think, Steve? Obviously, from afar, you've seen the Premier League have VAR now for a number of years. Would you like VAR in the Championship, or is it just in general you think that's not the solution? The refereeing just needs to improve.
No. I'd like to see VAR, just not in anything to do with football, quite frankly. Like when we were all calling for some sort of goal line technology afterwards, England at one World Cup, I can't remember which one it was, when Lampard hit the bar and it was clearly over. This wasn't what we were after. We were after common sense refereeing that was just assisted by a bit of technology to say, yes, the ball's crossed the line. We weren't after a hair on his knee is an inch offside, and therefore we've now got to go back 5 minutes of football to watch all these different replays from all these different angles. It's the Americanization of the system. It starts to become an NFL game. That's not what we're after. If you want to watch NFL, go watch NFL. That's the way it works for them. But football's meant to be fast-paced. It's meant to be about the action that we're all trying to enjoy. And what we don't need is referees either on the pitch or sat in a studio somewhere else dictating the play. And I don't think in the one defence I'll put to referees is that I don't think that they're helped out in any way by the continuous changes of the rules and just complete opaqueness of how the rules have been deciphered. It felt like when I was 20, 30 years ago when I first started watching football, that it was so much simpler. It was clear when it was offside. It was like a daylight rule. But now it's so bizarre what the rules are, and it's very difficult to even explain to anyone who's new to the game how to interpret the game, because it seems to change week in, week out. And I was really hopeful when we came up from League One. Maybe the Championship referees are better, but it's just a different load of names that are doing exactly the same thing. None of them seem to have grown up with football knowledge. You hear so many ex-players absolutely slating it. There's got to be something done at a simple level to take out the current technology that's being used badly and making it much more of a human game again.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And like you say about the level of the refereeing in the Championship, you're expecting it to be higher than League One. But the issue with the Championship is they get a lot of the referees that are demoted from the Premier League. How is that possible that the league is seen as something, the Premier League referee, he's had a shocker at City, let's demote him for 2 games in the Championship. That's not how it should be at all. So the Championship gets hindered with these shocking referees? Yeah, it's not right. Not right.
The Championship shouldn't be Yeah, the Championship shouldn't be for punishment for referees who've done poorly. In the same way, League One shouldn't be punishment for Championship referees. It needs to be a good standard of referees across all the balls at all divisions, all the way down to the National League system.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're right in terms of the rules. If the rules were more clean cut and stayed that way, it would be a lot easier for the referees to follow. Right, this prediction time. So we've got a couple of weeks now to the next game, but let's have a little ponder. Let's have a little think. So Platty, I'm going to throw it to you, mate. We've got Sheffield Wednesday at home. What are we thinking? What's your predictions?
2-1 Charlton or 1-0 Charlton. My 2-1 Charlton comes from the basis that you can bet your bottom dollar Barry Bannon's going to get a 30-yarder. And if he does score, I think we will get a couple. We won't be mashing them up like a couple of teams have. But I think it's either going to be 2-1 or 1-0. 3 points for us, I think.
Lovely. Timmsy, what about you, mate? Predictions for Sheffield's Wednesday?
I'm going to go for a 2-0. I reckon we'll hopefully keep a clean sheet. As you said, Barry Bannon loves to score and then tweet about it after. Especially against us for some reason. I think it all stems back to Chris Powell days. But I think we're going to get a clean sheet. We're going to have a reaction, and the rest of the boys have looked tired. Since like the second half of Derby, they've looked really like jaded and tired. I think the international break should come up with good time. I think we'll see hopefully another little run, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Fingers crossed. Right, it is now time for the A to Z for this week. So we're on to the letter B now for all things Charlton. So Dave, we're going to start with you, mate. So what is your letter B for Charlton?
Well, my letter B would be Bartram, Sam Bartram. He's a legend. He's got his own statue outside the Valley. Played for Charlton for 22 years, over 600 odd appearances. Saw them rise from Division 3 South to runners up in the top flight. But there's an interesting story about him because I don't know if many people know that he played a game on Christmas Day in 1937 at Stamford Bridge. And it was a game that was basically abandoned because of the thick fog. But unbeknown to Sam Bartram, he stood alone on the pitch for 15 minutes. He didn't realise the game had been called off until a policeman emerged from the mist and said to him, "Hey mate, like all the fans have gone home, and your teammates have gone home on the bus."
That is absolutely brilliant.
True story.
Steve, can you follow that, mate? What's your letter B?
I don't know any other players that have done that, but for me, it's Bent, and that's Darren, not Marcus. Probably one of the top strikers that I've seen firsthand at Charlton. When he first came through from Ipswich, we had him lucky enough to have him for 2 seasons. He got 37 goals in 79 appearances for us in those 2 years. He should have been in the World Cup squad after his first season, and it went to Theo Walcott for some strange reason that only Sven would know at the time. But he was phenomenal. He was a lightning fast. He could score all sorts of goals. He scored with his head, he scored with his left, he scored with his right. And we had a chance when he first came to really go up a level. And it was just a shame that his second season, obviously, not his fault, but was the season that we then went down from the Premier League. Even then, he was still getting like 15 goals for us in a relegated Premier League side. So we are he's probably up there with in at least the top 2 strikers I've seen at the Valley, and sadly it's probably a long time till we'll see his likes again there. But yeah, what a player.
Oh, brilliant, mate. I've got obviously a lot of fondness for Darren Bent. What a player. He could score all types of goals, couldn't he? That was the thing about him. He had a bit of pace, he could score with his head, he could score with both feet. And you're right, he absolutely missed out on that World Cup place under Sven, definitely. Yeah, great player, great choices both of you. So we're now on to finishing with tweet of the week. So tweet of the week is directed, I think, at opposition fans moaning about the Charlton and Nathan Jones in particular. So I've never seen a group of fans so excited about beating a newly promoted side, I'll be completely honest. Whenever I scroll through Twitter, once if Charlton has had a different sort of result, it's always in the comments, Nathan Jones this, Nathan Jones that. Do you feel like clubs give you even more of a bit of stick, Timmsy, because of the Nathan Jones stigma?
It's not even just the Nathan Jones as well. Every time we lose or we play a game, we even get QPR fans commenting that Kelman hasn't scored. There's a few strange sort of behaviours happening across the board, and I think it stems from some clubs just I think expecting just to roll us over a lot of the time, and then we'll rightfully sort of give it back and tell them it's not going to be an easy game. We also give it back in the crowd as well, and I think they sort of react to it just as much as they do to Nathan Jones, and we're sort of getting a bit of a name for ourselves. I even heard someone say currently we're more like Millwall than Millwall at the moment. So I heard that on a quite a famous sort of podcast. So yeah, that sort of gives you the remit of the way people are seeing us as a club at the moment. And people just detest Nathan Jones, and like even as soon as we lose, and I feel like after the Preston gave quite a fair press conference, their fans just jumped on it straight away. Like as soon as we lose a game, they're in the comments straight away.
Yeah, they are. Platty, you don't care, do you, mate? You don't care what people say about Charlton or Nathan Jones, do you?
Yeah. Well, I've got to say, I do think it a bit bizarre that away fans click on to the Nathan Jones interviews every week. So away fans, other fans do it. I'm not sure how many of us on here was I bothered about what Higginbottom said. No, I didn't bother, but there's certainly a lot of Preston fans on it yesterday, and there was a QPR fan on it, as Timmsy said. You get Millwall, and you get a few other clubs. And yeah, I think people have gotten a fixation with Nathan Jones, and he is Marmite. You either like him or you don't. But I think it's very strange why supporters get on sort of streams of other clubs and then get on there to slag them off. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? But there's always banter at grounds, and that's all good. But sometimes it does go a little bit far, and some people are clearly complete keyboard warriors. We'll leave it at that.
I think that's a definitely fair point. Who cares? Who cares what they say? Thank you for a great conversation, guys, and thank you everybody for watching and listening at home. Please like and subscribe. Please get involved in the comments below about your letter B for the A to Z for Charlton this week.